Hey guys, A.D. Wheeler from the Explorographer.com and House Lightbender at the Arcanum. Today I thought I'd do a quick tutorial and show you guys how to brute force perspective correct in Photoshop. Normally I would make most of these adjustments inside Lightroom, but in this particular case I'm finding that the controls in Lightroom are really messing up the shot more than they are fixing it. Generally, when we have a tilted horizon or lines in a building that aren't straight, it creates tension in the photo. And in this beautiful photograph from Jason Hoover, we're really looking at the beauty of the photograph, and we don't want any distractions that may lend against that. It's definitely doesn't need any tension, that's for sure. This is a very serene, wonderful shot here of the sunrise at the lighthouse. So normally in Lightroom, over here in the Develop module and on the right, down at the Lens Corrections module, or menu entry, under Profile we have our profile for our lens. Now this normally will fix any sort of warping that's caused by the actual lens. In this case he was using a 17mm wide lens. So we've got that correction going on. We also have our color correction going on. And then over here on the right is the menu selection for manual adjustments. Now normally we would come in here, constrain our crop so that we don't see any crop marks at all, and we would use the vertical and horizontal to straighten this image. So if I do some horizontal adjustments here, we can get it pretty good. It's not too bad. We're going to lose a lot of the image over here on the side, and you can see as I go back and forth here, the image is stretching and changing and moving. And what happens is if you click on the crop overlay, you can see that we're losing a lot of our image. And if we return this image back to its basic look by returning all the values to 0, the crop shrinks down and we lose a lot of this. We have to reset our crop manually in order to get the image back. So essentially, if you don't make the exact right adjustments at first, you can end up with an image that's just all over the place and not repairable without resetting your crop and starting over from the beginning. It just isn't very intuitive. Sometimes we need to brute force our image into a proper perspective. So in order to do that, I'm going to throw it over into Photoshop, and we're going to do the adjustments there. Okay, now we're over in Photoshop. And the very first thing we want to do is make sure that our rulers are turned on. So Command or Control R will turn those on and off. Make sure that they're on. Also make sure that you are on the Move tool. Okay, that's very important. That's a V on the keyboard. And we're going to drag down a few reference lines just so that we can kind of get this in alignment. I always hear people are not sure where the level line is at. This is a very easy way to make sure that you're dead on level, okay? So just bring down a line. So you're going to left click on the ruler and drag, and that will bring a line down onto your photo. And then you can grab a hold of these lines and move them around where you need to. There's a few key points here that we want to make sure that are in alignment. I want to make sure that the top of our lighthouse is in alignment. I want to make sure that its vertical alignment is good, and also the edge of this little house over here. So essentially we've got pretty much the only place that we can see that this needs to be adjusted is in the background of the horizon line, and also the lines of the lighthouse need to be in alignment as well. So the very first adjustment that we're going to do is we're going to do some distortion of this image to straighten it out. So we want to Command or Control J to make a copy of this background layer. You can also take the background layer and drag it down to the layer icon as well to make that copy. Make sure you're selected on that layer when you're ready to go. And then up here on the Edit menu, down to Transform, and then over to Distort. Alright, that's going to bring up our little handles here that we can move around. And this is a really easy way to get our perspective adjustment done without dealing with sliders and all that stuff. We just drag the image until it lines up with our lines on the screen. So you can see here that I did a simple drag down and got pretty close with the image. So we still have some issues here at the top of the lighthouse. This is a very wide image. So we need to kind of make a couple adjustments here until we can get it to the point where the horizon is level and our lighthouse itself is level and straight. I can see that we're pretty straight up and down, but not side to side. So it seems to be leaning a little bit to the left. So we're going to have to actually drag this out just a little bit. So when we drag this, we're also you're keeping an eye on our horizon, making sure that it's staying level, okay? And we're also taking a look at this line right here to make sure that that's level as well. All right, that looks pretty good. It looks like it was just a simple turn of the camera to make the adjustment. So we're just gonna tweak it a little bit more, make sure it's good. There we go. Double click to go ahead and set that warp. And now we can remove the lines by going to View and then down to Clear Guides. And we can see that the lighthouse is nice and straight. It's still a little bit off here at the top and also off here on the sides. I'm going to bring my rulers out one more time just to make sure. Yeah, we can see right there the top of the lighthouse needs to go up on the left a little bit. And also we can see that the side of the house is leaning out just a little bit. All right, to make these final adjustments, I told you before it was brute force, so we are definitely brute forcing this. We're going to use the Liquify tool. The Liquify tool allows us to move areas of our photo around and get them just right. Now, one of the things that you lose is your rulers here, so you kind of have to use your eye, but it's not really that difficult, and there is a little trick that you can use to make sure that you're doing it properly. If you zoom in a little bit using the mouse wheel or Control plus or minus, it will allow you to use the edge of the screen to see if the photo is level. So we can see that here at the top of the lighthouse, the left side is down a little bit farther than the right side. In order to fix that, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I'm on the forward warp tool. And that means it allows us to move areas around. And make sure my brush size is about double the size of the top of the actual lighthouse. And we're going to select a point that's kind of in between the top and the bottom area of the lighthouse top here, and just a little bit off center. When you're using this tool, the crosshairs will move a major part of the tool. So if I grab here, I can move. See how the middle is moving, but the edges are not moving as much? All right, I'm going to Control Z to undo that. So we want to be a little bit outside. Now this takes a little bit of practice, so I encourage you to just grab a hold of a photo and mangle it, and you can kind of learn how this tool works and get the best use out of it. So through a lot of practice, I've figured out that by moving it a little off center, it allows me to move just part of the photo. I just want to move the top up and this edge up just slightly. There you go. Pretty simple adjustment there, not too much to it. Keeping my line straight, trying to stay perfectly vertical. All right, that looks a lot better to me. Now it does dip down a little bit right here. We can make the brush size smaller with our bracket keys, and I can also bring up that area to make that look straighter as well. So I'm just clicking and holding and dragging. That's all I'm doing. All right. That looks better right off. And then we have the side of the house down here. Now you can see that if I slide this over, you can definitely see that that is not vertical. So I'm going to just take this top edge of the house, a little bit larger brush here, and straighten it out. A little bit smaller because it's curved a little now. We want to make sure that that line is straight. As you can see, it takes a little bit of practice. I know my brush sizes. I know what's needed to get the parts to move where I want to. But like anything in photography, it takes practice. So definitely get in there and practice a little bit. And this allows me to do everything. I mean, I can straighten up these windows. There are all sorts of easy adjustments to do with the Liquify tool. It really does allow you to grab a hold of the image and move it around as you see fit and get it so those distractions are no longer there. And there you go. I've got that all set now, and there's your image completely straightened up using a little brute force. Sometimes that's the only route that you can take. But now we don't have any distractions at all. We're able to enjoy this beautiful lighthouse and a beautiful sunrise. And now you can make your finishing adjustments to your exposure and color and so forth. So there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick tutorial and found some useful information behind it. We'll see you next time. Thanks.